Hello, dear sisters and brothers. Welcome to Catholic SG Radio. I'm Andrea Chung, and this is The Faith Perspective. Now, The Faith Perspective gives us an opportunity to discuss trending issues or even events that are happening in the church and in the world. Some months ago, there was an article in the Straits Times mentioning the desire in young adults, really, to have meaningful conversations and to turn acquaintances into, well, authentic relationships. But where do we begin? Well, let's not worry too much about that because we really actually have someone really very interesting in the studio today. We have Sharon Tong. Sharon, so good to see you. It's been
Hello.
years.
Yes, it's been years. I haven't seen this face for, I don't know.
You haven't changed. So thank you so much for taking the time to come in. And you're also going to be one of the speakers for this year's Men's Forum Conference, right?
Yes.
Formerly a CNA journalist or Channel NewsAsia journalist, Sharon was a presenter, and now she leads the Media Consultants, which is a media consultancy that she founded over a decade ago.
Yes.
Wow,
10 years.
time flies.
10 years.
Okay. So whether in the boardrooms or classrooms, Sharon believes in good communication. And because really, actually, good communication is a powerful leveler. Today, we hope to tap into her experience. And so we've got a couple of questions, and hopefully you are going to find this interesting as well. So, Sharon, just want to start off at the very top with about authenticity. And what does it really mean to be authentic in a time such as today? Life is a lot more complicated. Is authenticity something that's hard to imagine or even think about?
Yeah. I mean, you talked about authenticity in a time like today. Honestly, authenticity is the same today as it was decades ago, possibly.
Yeah.
The only difference here is we live in a very digital world, right? So when the camera's on, like it is now, what is that authentic self? Okay. Some people find it very natural to be themselves. They walk into a room and, we label them as extroverts.
Right.
And then, of course, the other people who don't draw that sort of same energy from the room, from other people, you call them introverts. But I really don't want to put labels on them.
True.
I just, define them as people who don't like that sort of situation, social situation, who find it difficult to start conversations, who find it difficult to approach somebody, okay?
Right.
And I was similarly this way. I mean, I spent 20 years in the television newsroom. So when people look at me and they think, how could you not know how to speak to people? Because you do that for a living.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that was me. That was me. When I was growing up, I grew up in a family that was very outspoken.
Okay.
Many of them are lawyers.
Ah.
So I was seriously not that sort. And I think my parents, especially my mother, who was, very, very astute, she saw this. And she was worried that I would get so-called bullied in the world. So she sent me for theatre class and
Oh, wow. Okay.
this class, get me out of my shell, that sort of thing.
Right.
Nothing worked.
Was
Absolutely
it
nothing
really
worked.
difficult for you?
It was, in uni, right? You'd go for tutorials or
Right.
lectures. I would always go 15 to 20 minutes early.
Ah.
Get a seat right at the back of the room so that no one's at the back. And I would just sit in my little corner in the seat. Why? Because I hated walking into a room when people are already in it, because then people look up and look at me.
Yeah.
I really didn't want that.
Yeah.
Okay?
Actually, it sounds like you're a very self-conscious person.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you be self-conscious and be on TV?
Absolutely.
It was very hard. Okay, so I spent many years doing that, and of course, whenever you're given this project or that project where you had to be on camera, you had to do interviews. I tended not to want to do that.
Many people cannot imagine that people like you and I, in a sense, being used to in front of a camera or in front of a microphone, right? They say, "Oh, you guys are, for you, it's just
I
you
know.
just do it like that."
Hear
because,
that all the time. Yeah.
But I also tell. I wonder if it's the same as you. I said, I'd rather not
I'd rather not. Yes.
be in front.
I'd rather not.
I'm really an introvert myself as well. And from what I hear from you, you're also an introvert.
Yes, that's how I really grew up, until one day, I guess, being in a newsroom like this, and I realized I'm not going anywhere. I need to do something about this. So I came up with a motto that I still hold true to today. And that is also the reason why I'm here.
Yeah.
So whenever a project presents itself where I have to be in front of people, MC an event, or host a program, I say yes. I say yes. I figure out how later.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you do that?
It's actually a state of mind. You that's the first step. To everybody who struggles with those kind of situations, I'd say it starts first with you.
Yes.
Right? You need to have that determination to say, okay, I'm going to do this. Right? So if, let's say, you are someone who finds it very difficult to approach someone and say hello, you need to start with yourself and say, I'm going to do it. Right? So that's what I did. I said yes, and then, of course, figured out how, spent many years berating myself for putting myself into that situation.
Right.
But if in order to succeed in that situation, it then means I had to prepare for that situation, right?
Absolutely. And
so
that helps.
Yes. So
The
as I said
preparation.
yes, and then I prepare, and I said yes, and I prepare, and then after a while, after the whole event or social situation is over, you realize it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
I think I did well there.
Yeah.
And then
Heave
your
a sigh of
confidence
relief.
grows. Yeah. So I think that's key.
Yeah.
So today, when I tell that story, people will go, wow, I wouldn't have figured that, it comes naturally to you. You stand up in front of a room, and that's what I do for a living now. I have to stand up in front of the room, and I have to share my story, or I have to teach people. So what I've done is I've taken all the lessons that, the hows, how to prepare,
Right.
and I've poured it into what I do for a living now, in that
Right.
sense. And I help people who are also in that similar situation where they have to present something for work, or speak to a reporter, or, to prepare, because I think that's preparation.
Yes.
And I always say this also, that in the professional setting, you know that you have to prepare for an important meeting, for an important conference, right? For even a meeting with a boss, you prepare. So why not prepare also in a social situation when you are meeting somebody that you deem important to you, right? Yeah.
Right. So even if the person or the other person is a special other, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And actually, that's a very good point, because many of us, we after a while, friendships become taken for granted, and we think, okay, we're comfortable. Everything seems to be comfortable with everybody, and then one day you get this: why are you not paying attention to me? And what? Where did I come from? Like suddenly this question out of Venus comes from you.
Yeah.
But you're right, because if we don't treasure that particular relationship, we're not going to take the time. We're not going to be working at it.
Yes.
And actually, if it's a significant other, we should be working at it.
Yes. I mean, if that person means something to you, or even if you don't know whether that person will mean something to you,
Right.
you are taking the effort to go out and speak to that person, have a conversation with that person, sit down with that person, then prepare for it, right?
Absolutely.
And when I say prepare for it, isn't just, I'm going to talk about this about myself.
Ah.
It's not just that.
Right.
Really, it's not just that, right? It starts with that. What are the topics? But I think the second point that is very interesting, and that you can draw, from my experience as a journalist, where I spend that time developing questions for a particular profile. It's that listening, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Listening.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you said the first thing is say yes.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Prepare. And then listen.
Yes.
Because that's the problem again today.
Yeah.
People don't listen very much.
Yeah, they talk about themselves a lot. Those who, whether or not because they're nervous and they just, talk about themselves a lot, or whether or not that's what they think a conversation should be.
Yeah.
The second part is very important, because again, drawing back in the professional setting.
Yes.
When you go out there and you have a meeting, you meet somebody at a conference and you want business with that person, you want to partner with that person, what do you do next? You send a follow-up email. So that follow-up email is very important. So you meet somebody for the first time, you have a conversation, and that person says, for example, oh, next week I'm going for a job interview. The follow-up is very important. So next week, what do?
Yeah.
You send that person a text.
Yes.
Hey, how was that job interview? So honestly, I don't know about whether it's women or men, but people appreciate that I'm grateful that you actually remembered that I was going for this important interview.
Correct.
Yeah, so that listening and then that follow-up is very important as well.
So dear sisters and brothers and gentlemen also, by the way, if you're truly listening to this, really that active listening is truly very important.
Yes.
But I want to come to just, the part, where sometimes we say people can over-prepare and then begin to over-talk about themselves.
Yep.
How can someone be, I guess, moderate maybe the way he or she speaks about themselves?
I think it starts first with awareness always. If you start with yourself, I said this earlier.
Right.
You start with yourself. You want to make that determination that I'm going to do something.
Yeah.
In the same way, it's about awareness. And sometimes a mirror friend is helpful. If a friend who's honest with you tells you, in social situations, you tend to dominate the conversation and talk about yourself. You'll find, I'm sure everybody knows someone who does that, where somebody could be talking about something, but they'll find a way to take that and then twist the conversation around to talk about themselves, right? So again, it's about being aware that if you do that, and I would say, I think it's not that majority of people wouldn't always want to do that.
Yeah.
It's just being aware that, I tend to do that.
Yeah.
Again, it goes back to the listening.
Yeah.
Talking less and listening more.
Yeah.
And of course, pointed questions. Asking questions, not to find a doorway into talking about yourself, but asking questions because you genuinely, and going back to that word authenticity,
Yes.
that you genuinely want to know more about that person that you're speaking to.
Absolutely. So, the thing is, it sounds common sense, right?
It does. Everything that I do on a daily basis, I think it's common sense.
Right.
We speak to CEOs in how do you communicate. You talk about the executive presence. You're talking about the speech that they're about to make, the town hall that they're about to hold, right? And you think it's kind of common sense. But then I realized in the 10 years that myself and my fellow consultants go out and do this, that what's common sense to you may not be common sense to everybody.
Absolutely.
And of course, in a tense, awkward, uncomfortable situation, common sense flies out the window, right? I mean, it's natural. So it's about giving them structures to remember when you're in a situation when you're not comfortable. Okay, what do I remember? So awareness and just remembering some key structures for conversation making, for communicating. I think that is good for everyone.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm just going to dwell a little bit on this point about balancing, right? Some persons may be the complete opposite and then actually have a problem expressing themselves. And I mean, they're really, really very nice individuals. So how do you think they can project maybe a little bit better themselves without going over the top?
Without going over the top.
Yeah.
If they are already having issues with that, the risk of going over the top wouldn't inherently be there, right? But again, it goes back to what I mentioned, which is preparation. If you find yourself not knowing what to say to a person, then before you go into any social situation, prepare. And you would think it's counterintuitive because then it becomes very stunted, right? It's not like I'm preparing for a meeting. I'm actually just meeting a potential friend or something like that. But if you have that issue, you need to first get over that hurdle. And that preparation also puts some confidence in yourself.
Okay. Absolutely.
It's the same concept as the professional setting, I feel, right? Except the execution might be a little bit different, right? But the preparation remains the same. If you find yourself standing awkwardly, twiddling your thumbs and not knowing what to say in a social situation, then prepare some key topics that you want to talk about.
Right.
Prepare certain stories.
Trending issues.
Yes. Current affairs, right?
Yeah.
But also prepare certain key stories that you feel would give people an insight into who you are, right?
Yeah.
That takes preparation. Because if I
Absolutely.
ask you right now, Andre, what was your, tell me one story of how you are as an introvert and what made you take that step forward.
That's true.
One, event that was defining in your time. You
Absolutely.
would have to like say, right?
Think about it. Yeah.
On the spot, bit hard.
Yeah.
So preparation into this story or that story, and in the same way in a work setting, it's about preparing these examples and anecdotes that will add to the conversation.
Which actually very nicely leads me, and it's not in the questions, but maybe just share with us what can you remember was your most awkward situation that you've encountered,
Most
how did you get out of it?
Most awkward so many. I guess it would be when I in my work life in the newsroom, I've done many interviews before.
Yep.
And I did many interviews, and of course you prepare for those interviews. You
Oh,
had
yeah,
a
for
list
sure.
of questions, and
Absolutely.
with certain I won't name who it is, but it was a royal family person.
Okay.
So there were a lot of protocols, bureaucratic red tape and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
of course you had to build questions ahead of time so that
Sure.
they could check them over. And
Absolutely.
I did. I created a list of questions and I said, okay, these are my questions, submitted them a week in advance or so. On the day that I arrived for the interview, before that person, the interviewee, arrived, a big officious man, a very big person, walked in and says to me, questions. So I went, oh, okay, okay. So I handed them over. But bear in mind, this is a reporter who's always very last minute with things, right? So that first list of questions I had submitted ahead of time were like generic questions that I didn't really think too much into. I just sent because they wanted it.
Yeah.
But of course, prior to the interview, usually the night before, you sit down and go, okay.
You do more reading, right?
Yes, you do more reading, you research into it, and then you sharpen the questions.
Absolutely.
So this list of questions that I handed over to this guy was totally different. So he walks out with my questions, and he comes back and he went, this is not the same as the first one. And I thought, oh, is that okay? He didn't reply. He just hands me back my questions. He walks out. So I'm left wondering, is it okay or not? I don't want to get arrested here, right? So then in comes the interviewee, and she sits down. She's a very, very nice person and everything. And I'm like, do I stick to those questions, or do I, what do I do? Yeah, so that was very difficult. So it was, I would say it's the best.
Did you ask?
I stuck to one of the safe first questions first. Then I realized as the conversation went on that she was actually very open to any of the questions that I wanted to ask. So then
You got her warmed up.
Yeah, but at first it was like, loads of things were going on in my head here, and I was struggling really hard. So sometimes really is, when you open a conversation, that's always the most difficult.
Correct.
Right? But you start off with a safe question. Then you get a sense, you read that person.
Where that person is.
That person is very warm, very opening. Then you wade into deeper waters, right? Yeah. So
Absolutely.
start safe.
We've all done that, I think. But that is really actually a wonderful tip. And really, dear sisters and brothers, I mean, if again, whether it's a professional setting or whether it is a more personal setting, I think it's always good to know what the other person's thinking with the safe questions, the questions that do not threaten at all, but the person is still comfortable to express him or herself, and then you go on from there.
Yes, yeah. So topics, safe questions is one thing, but the other element of communication we cannot forget is the non-spoken ones.
Absolutely.
The non-verbal elements that you also have to
Body language,
that you also have to keep an eye on. And being working in TV in a visual medium, this element of the unsaid is very important. When we go out there and we train people in leadership positions.
Yeah.
The what's not said is also very important
Very.
because the execution. I used this word just now, and I said execution is very important.
It is.
Of course,
It is,
right?
yeah.
The best laid plans can go out the window if you don't execute it well as well.
Yeah.
So that's also something that people can prepare and people can practice.
Yeah.
So practice is just as important, honestly. And you practice with safe people like your mother, your father, your best friend, your brother, those who will ridicule you without thinking about it,
Absolutely.
but will be your best, critics.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. And I think they would only want the best for you as well.
Yes.
Right? And so, again, being open to criticism as well, or critique, not criticism, I think.
Absolutely.
Critique. Because, like I said, if the people really whom you ask whether you're saying what you're saying is right and the way you're putting it across is really good for you, take that. Take that. And then, of course, you've got to do something with it. You've got to relook your questions, relook how you, I guess, approach.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And practice.
Yes, be open to it, really. Be open to it. I mean, that's the whole premise of what I do now, which is they bring us in and we make them deliver a speech or do an interview. And after each one, we sit there and we critique. And we really critique down to, did they use their hands to express themselves? Yeah. Were they a little bit awkward? Did they blink too much? Yeah, so we even bring it down to that level. And,
Absolutely.
And if you have somebody who is honest with you, who can tell you, you can go to your best friend and say, hey, bro, I want to meet a girl, but I'm too scared. I don't know whether or not I come across too creepy or whether or not I come across too awkward, right? Let me know. You tell me what you see.
Correct.
Yeah, and then you take that on, you shape yourself.
Yeah. I tell you, thank you so much, Sharon, for sharing all that. Really, it sounds like it's common sense.
It does.
But it really actually does take practice, dear sisters and brothers. Really,
yes.
for all of us. So, even for me,
He's had a lot of practice.
Sharon, really, I really appreciate the time that you've taken and all that you've shared. You didn't need a script. I threw away the questions.
Perfect.
But really, I think what you've brought across and you've shared with us today here on Catholic SG Radio is really, really, truly wonderful, and it's just you that you
I'm
shared.
glad to do
and so
it.
thank you so much.
Thanks, Andre.
So dear sisters and brothers, don't forget you can watch this over again also on our YouTube channel. This is The Faith Perspective. And thank you so much. So look out also for the Men's Forum Conference, and you can visit mensforumconference.sg/conference. That's the link that I've been given. But anyway.
Join us at the men's conference.
Absolutely.
I apparently am the only woman speaker at the men's conference.
I noticed that.
Makes me really stressed out. But okay, come see us there.
You don't have to be stressed out. Don't worry. They'll all take care of you, I'm sure, Sharon. So once again, thank you, dear sisters and brothers, for joining us. Take care. God bless and love you all. Bye-bye.